Good day. The purpose of this video is to call out the serious misinfo that Mme.Goldy has libeled against Your Ward News and the very respectable Dr. James Sears.
Is no longer blind. And why are they doing this besides the fact to deter other people from activism, from involvement? And I don't mean to sound rude or pretentious in any sort of way, but it's because they know that I give a damn and that my work is making a difference. And I don't mean to kind of hit below the belt for people who perhaps don't deserve it or people who do, but I'll give you a great example. James Sears, many of you in Canada and Toronto will know this name. He writes a legitimately racist rag called Your Ward News. It's stupid, it's dumb, it's gratuitous. I don't know who reads it. It's like Frank Magazine for Nazis. Okay, but actually. So it's just dumb whatever. I've held on to one copy in my entire life, and that is basically the extent of it. So perhaps, people will have a different opinion than myself. But the Kin53eella, okay, took him to court recently because, as far as I understand the case, and don't quote me fully, but their claim was that he uttered death threats, and he had said something to the tune of bludgeon them to death, bludgeon them. So this is a legitimate, credible thing where yeah, the guy made threats, and yeah, the court let him off. He wasn't screwed. He didn't have to, spend time in jail or whatever for uttering death threats. So why do I bring it up? It's because he's a nobody and he's going nowhere because his tactics are insane. His optics are insane. He posts actual swastikas. He posts actual swastikas. He posts actual swastikas.
Mme.Goldy accuses charges that Your Ward News is 1. A legitimately racist rag. I would respond, Madam, legitimately racist according to who and by what authority? There's only one authority under heaven on earth, Holy Bible, and I dare you to find some passage in this that condemns Dr. James Sears' actions. Of course, you are happily entitled to your fair opinion that the paper is stupid, dumb, and gratuitous, yet you admit you don't know who reads it. You stand accusing James Sears without any fact, without any context. You also admit that you have held on to one copy in your entire life, yet, on the basis of this one copy, you continue to accuse and pass judgment. Sad, sad, sad. You mention the Kin53eellas, okay? As if you know them. Who are they? What do they do? Who do they work for? Of course, you presume they're innocent, disinterested parties? What about their witch queen satanic worship? Your words. Yet you admit that you don't wish to be quoted on this, but still you stand there and accuse and pass judgment. Embarrassing. I quote you. As far as I understand the case, their claim is he uttered death threats, something to the tune of bludgeon to death? I mean, legitimate, credible thing. The court let him off, no time in jail, insane. So Mme.Goldy stands there openly admitting that she doesn't know the facts, yet she's outraged that an innocent man is freed from jail. Sad. Now, if you want to know the actual facts, you need to refer to Summer 2017 edition of Your Ward News to learn the full story, namely how Children Aid Society were sent to kidnap the Dr. Sears children explicitly because of the newspaper that he writes. With a thank you, Your Honor, and Merry Christmas, alleged hate monger, see, hate, is the motto of the Antichrist, but let's continue. Alleged hate monger James Sears walked out of a Toronto courtroom at Fremantle on Monday. The 55-year-old Sears was acquitted of threatening death against political operative Warren Kin53eella and his wife Lisa. Bravo, Madame Blanchford. Sears is the editor-in-chief of Your Ward News, an odious newspaper available in print and online. The paper's owner and publisher, Leroy St. Germain, was also charged, but Ontario Court Judge Dan Moore had dismissed the charge against him. Kinsella alleged that in the summer of 2017 edition, Sears, in a lengthy rant about the Children's Aid Society, with whom he had had a frightening brush, had also threatened him and his wife. In the offending passage, Sears wrote that he blamed the Kinsellas or someone close to them with sicking the CAS on him, but said he kept silent about it until the agency investigation was over and his supporters, or some hothead, and we'll go to the Sears specific article in a moment, cared about him, and there's many, would lose it and do something illegal like bludgeon the Kinsellas to death. That's Jay. I mean, I would have advised against writing that, for the record. The judge has wise words. Instead, Sears said he chose to let enough time pass for people to react with cool heads. The judge found that while he completely accepted the Kinsellas' testimony that they took the threat as a real danger to their personal safety, it wasn't. A threat, the judge says, must be forward-looking, not a comment on something that could have or even should have happened in the past. For this reason, coupled with the stated desire in the passage that Mr. Sears timed the article to avoid the risk of someone bludgeoning the Kinsellas to death, I cannot find that a threat is made out. An added difficulty, Moore said, is that when it comes to Sears and Your Ward News, the Kinsellas are the opposite of dispassionate and unbiased. They perceive everything in the worst possible light. This is truth. So, ladies and gentlemen, the judge noted that the Kinsellas, deeply offended by the personal attacks on them in the paper and its content, generally participated in, organized, and/or commenced a variety of legal and political actions aimed at exposing, opposing, and/or shutting down Your Ward News. They wrote articles, held press conferences, lobbied politicians, and commenced this proceeding by laying a private information, among other things. That's interesting. I think she's missing a word here. I don't know. It's interesting. She adds, I think she's possibly clueless what it really means, that the provincial crown attorney eventually took over carriage of that case. Yasif Nakir, Pakistani, but that's coincidence. Never mind. Nothing to do with London. Obama. Forget it. Anyway, thank you, Madame Blatchford, for a reasonable article. At least you tell the truth. We're here to comment today on Mme.Goldy's lazy burst of misinfo on her recent YouTube live stream. Here we're going to go into some detail about Your Ward News, because Miss Mme.Goldy cannot be trusted to even do one iota of homework. So, in summer 2017, the brilliant Your Ward News makes an issue focusing on Children's Aid Society being called on the Dr.Sears family, threats to take their child because, and the aid worker faithfully admits this, that they are concerned about anger management issues due to the nature of the Your Ward News newspaper. Mme.Goldy repeats the mistake, the error, that hate is some sort of sin, that hate has to be purged, that there's no place for hate here. Hate is not a sin, Mme.Goldy. Please show me any instance in the Bible where hate is a sin. Now, the key article is detailed here. Children's Aid, Righteous Crusade or Greedy Charade. Now, what's detailed here is that Mr. Sears, I recommend you read it. Mr. Sears is playing with his son outside and he finds a letter addressed to his wife. The letter is from Children's Aid. When I showed the envelope to my wife, she said, "With all the controversial stuff you write, I'm surprised it took this long. So why were we calm when most people would be losing their shit? Because we are good friends with Archbishop Dorian Baxter, God bless him, first man in Ontario to successfully sue Children's Aid Society. Baxter is the Archbishop of the Federation of Independent Anglican Churches of North America and the priest at Christ the King Graceland Church in Newmarket. He formed his own church after the Anglican Church of Canada told him to cease his unique form of preaching. You see, Baxter is an Elvis tribute artist with the stage name Elvis Presley. And actually, that is blessed, that is beautiful. Jesus' power cannot be stopped. Now, let's go on further, because the reason for the CAS complaint, there's a real question about why they even came to the door at all. Who made the complaint? He will eventually find out. Secondly, what motivated a person to make this false complaint? The answer may lie in the December 5th, 2016 article written for the Huffington Post by the Satanic witch, Lisa Kinsella. Let's read further. Her libelous hit piece commenced. Warning, this piece contains graphic language and references to sexual assault that some readers may find difficult and choose not to read. December 25th was the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women. Once she primed her kooky readers to see how horrible men are, she began libeling me with... Sears further suggests that some women, quote, deserved to be raped or beaten because we likely, quote, provoked it. He goes so far as to say that if women stay in a relationship after being raped or beaten, it's because we enjoyed it. In the past, I've served on the board of a women's shelter. What Kinsella refers to is a satirical article written in the fall 2016 edition of Your War News, which you can find online, by Dimitri the Lover. Since the original Your War News article was published 3 months before the hoax CAS complaint, I doubt it was a direct cause. Rather, I suspect the complaint was either lodged by Kinsella, someone directed by or associated with her, or motivated by her article published 2 weeks prior. Now, here's where we get to the key section. In the comments section below Kinsella's hit piece, people express, blah, blah, blah. Let's go here. I have not told our story to anyone until now. My close friends will first learn of it in this article and wonder why I kept it from them. No offense, but Colette and I remain silent because we have more morals than Lisa and Warren Kinsella. You see, if I told my friends, thousands of people on my mailing list, and hundreds of thousands of readers of Your War News about it, while a CAS investigation was active and our son could still have been kidnapped, there was the chance that some hothead who cares deeply about me and my family would lose it and do something illegal like bludgeon the Kinsellas to death. No matter how little respect I have for them, as a Christian, I chose to turn the other cheek and let enough time pass for the people who love, would give their lives for, or would go to jail for me and my family to react with cool heads. Even though my family appears to be in the clear, our readers should be outraged that such a Soviet-style terrorism could be perpetrated upon the family of a writer in Canada. Just imagine if you, YOU, went off on an angry rant on social media and a pair of CAS, quote, intake workers showed up at your door a couple of weeks later concerned about your anger management issues. This cultural Marxist dystopia is coming apart at the seams. Now join me and my family in the war to expel the parasite.
It's because he's a nobody and he's going nowhere because his tactics are insane. His optics are insane. He posts actual swastikas. He posts actual swastikas. He posts actual swastikas. He's run for mayor, by the way. He's a perennial candidate who's run a bajillion times. And I saw him in a speech once getting up and saying that his favorite, like, 3 biggest heroes in life were Jesus, I think Socrates, and Hitler. Like, the guy is, like, no one is following that guy to the front lines, okay?
I could register it, and just so you guys know for your education, you can register a political party in Canada with 250 signatures from people on the voters list. I have thousands of people that'll sign. I've got a list compiled. I could get the signatures together in 30 days and have it submitted. The problem is I didn't want to register it too soon before the federal election, because then I have to file financial statements every year and pay accountants and do this stuff. So I'm planning to begin collecting signatures in January of 2018, get it registered for the summer of 2018, so we have over a year to build it up before the next federal election. And the party is based on what I call Christian Libertarian National Socialist values.
Christian Libertarian Nationalist Socialist values.
Right. Okay. So what I do is I combine Jesus Christ, Ron Paul, and Adolf Hitler. I know you guys are triggered, mostly by Jesus. They get triggered more by Jesus than Hitler for some reason. I don't know why.
Irony.
Yeah, it is. But I've taken a little bit of each. And look, nothing's perfect. But if you go to my website, ncparty.ca, you will see that my platform is a very fair platform. The Hitler part of it, people say, well, why are you combining National Socialism in it? Well, let me tell you a little bit about the National Socialist elements of it, and tell me if you disagree. Or you don't even have to tell me if you disagree. Tell me if you think I'm being unreasonable. I believe that we should go back demographically to Canada being 95% Euro-Aboriginal. In other words, European Aboriginal people, which were the founders, should make up 95% of the population. Now, within the 95%, I include the Japanese in the West Coast, because the Japanese Canadians are founders. They've been here a long time. And the Negroes, I don't use the term black because it's a very derogatory term, Negroes in Nova Scotia who've been here 150 years that escaped the Jewish-run slave trade south of the border, and they came here. So I include them in that 95%. They're founders. The other 5% can be Muslims, Hindus, whatever, but we should only allow people into the country that offer something to Canada. In other words, I don't want somebody that sweeps floors in Bangladesh coming saying he's a refugee. If he's a Bangladeshi doctor, that's a different thing. If he's a Bangladeshi accountant, well, I want to get rid of income tax. There's going to be a lot of unemployed accountants soon. So the bottom line is you want people that are going to contribute to our society. I call it the right to demographic stability. So if you're a citizen of Canada, you have the right to live in a demographically stable society. The moment you start to bring in people that are not like you, you begin to destroy the cultural fabric. And that's what Stalin did. Stalin used to move whole tribes of people around in the Soviet Union to destroy cultures in order to decimate everything and have everyone become a Marxist. And that's what they're doing in Canada. We used to have a culture, when I was in school, in elementary school, and this was back in the late 60s and throughout the early 70s, we used to see films on how Eskimos built igloos, how the natives carve things. We used to do soapstone carving like natives. I remember sewing leather wallets. Like we learned and we worshipped Aboriginal culture. They stopped that. And the reason they did that is they stopped all Canadian culture. They want Canada to be hockey, maple syrup. They want it to be a consumer society. And they want to destroy Christian fabric in Canada. And that's what I'm concerned about. And my party wants to bring that in. The other National Socialist part of it is there's no coming-of-age ritual for a child in Canada. I believe that everyone should be an adult when they're 16. There should be an across-the-board age where you can have sex, drive a car, do whatever. It should be 16. Now, but except not marijuana, because there's a high rate of schizophrenia if you use marijuana before the age of 21 that they don't like to talk about. It shouldn't be legal till 21. So what I'd like is an across-the-board age, and at that point they have a coming-of-age ritual with a lot of showiness. It's, like a graduation ceremony on steroids, where they're taught, and then they have to take a course in what their duties are as an adult citizen. And I believe very strongly that this will make for better people. The other thing I would like is a stronger constitution that's protected. And I have an idea where we...
My message, despite what my detractors say, is not actually that. It's common sense Canadiana. It's common sense. Let's just have a conversation about immigration, about taxation, about demographics, yes, but not in a way that's to foster hate, but in a way that's to say we foster love for our own country, for our own people. And people kind of can get behind it because they think to themselves, oh my God, I'm not this crazy kook, knuckle-dragging monster that the folks at the Toronto Star and Anti-Hate Canada would have you believe. And when I hear my ideas articulated in such a way, I'm kind of about, and you know what, I'm not afraid to put my name out there. I'm not afraid to be...
So there you have Miss Goldy in her own words. Have I exaggerated anything? Have I misrepresented what she said? No. She dismisses him. She even admits herself that she doesn't know who reads it. She's only had one copy in her entire life. Yet she's so clueless, she still wants to pass judgment on the whole business. And she later on calls him a crazy kook, knuckle-dragging monster, a literal troll freak show. Whatever, she's entitled to her opinion. But notice, she's clueless about Hegel, say, dialectic materialism. For her, the idea of some sort of triangle of Christian, libertarian, national socialism, that's too complicated for her simple mind. Hence the combination of Jesus Christ, Ron Paul, Adolf Hitler. Is that so unreasonable? And again, going back to the point about James Sears' prints actual swastikas, friends, the swastika is not a mythical evil symbol. That's an illusion, a deception of our current pop secular religion, which really means Luciferian religion, wherein they view Hitler as some eternal symbol of evil, swastikas as eternal symbol of evil. Please wake up. You understand Hollywood movies are not historical records, right? Anyway, believe it or not, all this criticism of Faith Goldy, I still voted for mayor for Toronto because I wanted force multiplication. I know James Sears didn't have access, but Faith Goldy was polling pretty well. But James Sears' criticisms of Faith Goldy are quite legitimate in the summer 2018 or fall 2018 edition of Your War News. Check it out. God bless.